Hello everyone, welcome to HJ Programming Solutions. So in today's video we are going to start with the Spring Framework tutorial, and in this video we will see how we can create a bean, how we can inject the properties of that bean. Also we will see what is dependency injection and how we can achieve dependency injection in a Spring. Okay. Initially we will start with the XML based configuration, and after that we will use annotations and Java based configuration as well. Okay, so let's start with the video. Very first we have to create one simple Maven project. So let's see how we can create a Maven project. We have to go to file, new project. Here we have to select a Maven project, next, 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 and here you have to give a group id and artifact id and click on the finish. Your Maven project will be ready. Okay, so I have created here Spring Session 1 Maven project, and this is our main class, and here we have pom.xml file. So in this pom.xml file we have the JUnit dependency, and we will be adding some more Spring related dependencies here. Okay, now here let's create one class, new class, employee. Okay, and inside this employee class let's have one method, public void display, and sysout employee class display method. Okay, so this is one method we have in employee class. Now let's go to app.java. So now in simple Java, how we can create object of this employee class and how we can access this method, let's see. So here how we will do, employee object is equal to new employee. Okay, and then obj dot display method. Okay, now if we run this application we will get output as a employee class display method. Okay, which we have written here, right? So this way we can create the object of a class in our Java, and we can access the methods. Okay, now in a Spring we will not create the object by our own. Okay, we will ask Spring container to do that task for us, so that we don't have to care about the object creation. Okay, Spring container will take care of that. So how Spring container will create the object for us? So even if Spring container will create the object, we have to tell Spring container which class object needs to be created, then what are the properties we have to inject. Okay, so how we will tell Spring to create the object for us? For that we will be using XML file, or we can use annotation, or we can use Java based configuration. Okay, so initially let's start with the XML based approach. So very first we have to go to our resource folder, and here we have to create one file. Okay, so other, and here let's search for XML file, this one, new, and let's give a name of the file as a config file. So this is our configuration file. Okay, so in this file we will provide all the configuration, and we will create beans here. Okay, we will ask Spring container to create a bean. So how we can do that? So here we have to use one tag bean. Okay, and inside this bean tag we have to provide a id. Id means, here see here what we have used, employee object is equal to new employee. So for like this we have to give here a id will be the unique identification for that bean. Okay, let's suppose we are giving object, or we can give employee, and here we have to mention for which class you have to create the bean. Okay, so here we cannot write directly employee, so here we have to give a fully qualified name of the employee class. So let's go to our employee class, and right click and copy qualified name. Okay, and just we have to paste here. So this way we can give a fully qualified name here and the ID of that bean. Okay, then this container will create the object for us, but before that what we have to do, in this app.java file we have the container called application context. Okay, so now we are not getting this application context because we don't have the dependencies added in our form.xml file. Okay, so we need spring core and spring context dependency. So Maven repository, and here we will search spring core, and this spring core dependency we will take this one, copy, go to our application, and after this dependency we will paste our spring core dependency. Okay, again we need one more dependency, spring context. So let's click here and take the same version, copy, go to our sts and then paste here. Okay, so now we have added spring core and spring context dependency. Okay, so now let's go here and Maven update project. Okay, we will update our Maven project. Okay, so project is updated. Now here if you do control space, then okay, still it is not coming. Application, see here, application context is coming from org spring framework context. Okay, so let's take this application context, then context is equal to new. Can we write application context? No. Why? Because this is interface. If we go here, see this application context is a interface and we cannot create an object of the interface. Okay, so here we have to create, or we have to use any implementation class of this application context interface. Okay, so we have this class path xml application context, so let's use that, and inside this class path xml application context we have to give our configuration file name. So configuration file name is config.xml. Okay, now this application context container get to know that we have provided all our configuration in config.xml file. Okay, this is class path xml application context, so it will search for this config.xml file in class path. Okay, so we have added it in resource folder, so it will find this config.xml file, and whatever beans we have provided inside this config.xml file, it will create objects of that, or it will create a beans whatever we have mentioned in our config.xml file. Okay, but our xml file will not be like this, so we have to make some changes here. So let's go to our spring documentation and let's use this template. Okay, we just have to copy it till this, go to our application, okay, and paste here. Okay, now we have to close the beans tag as well. Okay, let me format this, right click, source, format. Okay, so now here inside this beans tag we have to create our beans. Okay, now how we can create a bean? As we discussed, we have to use a bean tag, then we have to give a id. Let's suppose we are giving id as a emp, and here we have to give a class with fully qualified name. Okay, So now go to our employee class, right click and copy qualified name, go to config.xml file and just paste our qualified name here. Okay, now our bean employee means our bean of this employee class will be created. Okay, so let's go to app.java and save and just run Java application. Okay, so currently we are not getting anything, but how we will get to know that the bean is created or not? So let's write here one default constructor, and inside this default constructor let's write a statement employee class default constructor. Okay, now if we run this application, see here we are getting employee class default constructor. So whenever the object of the class will be created, the default constructor will be called. Okay, so now we are ensure that the employee class means employee class bean is created. Okay, now here bean is created, but how we can get that bean? So to get that bean we have a method get bean. So how we can use that method? Context dot get bean. Okay, and here we have to give the name of the bean. So we have the bean name as a employee. Okay, so here just we have to give assign a statement to a new local variable. So it is taking object currently, but we know that this is a type of employee class, right? So we will give here employee dot class, and here also we will give employee name, let's suppose emp bean. Okay, now here through this get bean method we got the employee bean, and now we can call any methods of the employee class by using this emp bean. Okay, now let's suppose emp bean dot display method, save and run, we will get employee class display method. Okay, so this way we can create the spring container. Here we will provide our configuration file path. Okay, it will go to configuration file, means this class path xml application context, you will search for this config.xml file in your class path, then it will go to config.xml file and it will see whatever bean you have mentioned, it will create those beans. Okay, then by using this get bean method you can get the bean, and through that bean you can do whatever you want to do. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Now let's go to employee.java and here create some more fields. So private string name of the employee and private int salary. Okay, and then for this let's create the getter and setters. Okay, so getters and setters, here we have to go to generate getters and setters, and let's add toString method as well. So generate toString for all the fields. Okay, now inside this app if we go and here we write sysout emp bean dot get name. Okay, so if we run the application we will not get anything. Okay, because we have not set the name of the employee. So how we can set the name of the employee? So we have to go to config.xml file and inside this bean we have to use the property, means here actually we have two ways. one using setter based injection and another using constructor based injection. Okay, so we will see both of them. First, let's see how we can inject the properties using setter based injection. Okay, so here we have to give the property name as a name, and the value for name, let's give the employee name as Seema. Okay, so this is the employee name, and then we have one more property. Name of the property is salary, and value, let's take it as 45,000. Okay, so we have injected this name and salary properties here using setter based injection. Okay, so in this employee class we have the setter of the name and the setter of the salary. Okay, now go to our app.java and let's print employee.getName and empbean.getSalary and run the application. See here, we are getting name as a Seema and the salary as a 45,000. Okay, or simply just we will print the B. Save. See here, we are getting employee object with property name and salary. Okay, so this way we can inject the properties using setter based injection. So for that we have this property tag. Inside this property we have the name attribute and value attribute. Okay, now let's see how we can do the same using constructor based injection. For that, first go to our employee class, and here let's create the constructor. So generate constructor using fields. We will tick mark all the fields, and this is our employee constructor. Okay, now go to your config.xml file, and for constructor based injection you have to use constructor arg tag. Okay, now here, see here what are the attributes we have. So we have index attribute, then name attribute, ref, and type and value. Okay, so let's start or use the name first, and here we will give the name as our employee name, and the value will be, now let's change the value to Rima, and our another argument is id. So name is equal to id, sorry, salary, and we will give the value as 98,000. Okay, now we have saved this and let's run. So currently see here, it was Seema and 45,000. Now it should be Rima and 98,000. So let's run the application and see here, we are getting name as a Rima and salary as a 98,000 through constructor based injection. Okay, now we have used here a name attribute. If you want to change it to index, you can use, I think, one will be the Rima, and index to one, sorry, 2 will be our id. Let's run the application and see. Okay, I think it should be 0 and 1. Let's run now. See here, so index should start from 0. So 0th index will be your first parameter, and first index will be your second parameter. Okay, so this way you can make use of index as well. And another, I think we have index and name. Reference we will see after some time, and type also you can give. So it will take the or find the property by using based on the type. Let's suppose if you have given the type as an integer, then it will search for the integer type. So name is of type string, so let's give it as a string and run. See, here we are getting the values. If we change this type to something else, it will throw an error maybe. So if we are giving int, it will not work. See, here we are getting unsatisfied dependency exception. Okay, so I hope you have understood now. First let's create let's make it a string and run. Okay, so I hope you have understood now how we can create a simple Spring application, how we can create a Spring container. So this way we can create a Spring container, right? Then how to create a bean in our config.xml file, how to inject the properties by using setter based injection and constructor based injection. Okay, so that's it for today's video, and we will see a dependency injection in tomorrow's video. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching the video. If you find this useful, please share with your friends and don't forget to subscribe the channel so you will get notified for the further videos. Thank you.